In this module, we discuss the acronym FALL, F-A-L-L, framing, audio, lighting, and lenses. Welcome to the TheIndieLot. You're at the Filmmakers Bootcamp. We want to start off our discussion on the acronym FALL with the letter F, which stands for framing. And to do so, let's talk about the 180-degree rule. This rule will greatly help you, especially if you're just starting off, because it tells us where we can place our camera, so it's very important to understand. To talk about the 180-degree rule, I am going to employ the help here of a software tool called Blender. You can download this from www.blender.org, and this is a open source free 3D modeling, game development, animating package, and over the years Blender has integrated support for many of the tasks that you would do in post film production. So I'll be talking about this more throughout the course, and it's one of the tools that I go to often in my filmmaking endeavors. Okay, in this module, though, we're talking about the 180-degree rule and how this rule is going to help you to know where to place your camera. Remember when we talked about coverage, we said that coverage was about capturing angles and shot types. Well, this 180-degree rule is going to be what helps you establish correct angles that you want to capture in your shooting. What is the 180-degree rule, or how is it used in filmmaking? The 180-degree rule specifies that when you're shooting a scene, and remember we've been talking about coverage in the previous module, okay, and we said let's get 3 different angles, okay. When we're shooting a scene, the 180-degree rule says, create a center line or a dividing line to a circle, run it through your scene, and then pick a side. Either shoot your angles all from this side of the circle, or shoot all your shots from this side of the circle. And it's as plain and simple as that. Okay, so now, if I am the camera in this perspective, all right, 180-degree rule says I can shoot from anywhere on this side of the line. If I come in over the shoulder, okay, actor number 1 is on the right side of the framing. Actor number 2 is towards the left side of the framing. If I come over here and I shoot like this, well, it's still the same. Even though it's a greatly different angle and even different height of the camera, actor number 1 is still in the right side of the framing, while actor number 2 is still in the left side of the framing. If I move in and I come over actor number 2's shoulder, actor number 2 is still on the left side of the framing. Actor number 1 is still towards the right side of the framing. Okay? That's what it means to be shooting using the 180-degree rule. We keep our actors within the same context of each other. Okay? If I was to violate the 180-degree rule, and all of a sudden I move my camera over here, well, look where actor number 1 ends up. Actor number 1 ends up in the left side of the framing, while actor number 2 is now in the right side of the framing. Whereas before here, actor number 1 is in the right side of the framing, but now all of a sudden they're in the left side of the framing, and that's not always a good thing. Now, again, it's a guideline rather than a rule. I would suggest as you're starting out that you start with the intention of following it, and it's always going to give you better shots, basically. Okay, you don't want to be just all of a sudden disorienting your viewer and changing sides. Now, one thing that may happen in a dialogue scene, perhaps the camera's here, and maybe there's a slow moving, somebody's walking with the camera. They got some kind of glide cam on, and they switch over and cross the line. Okay, no problem. We've let the viewer see us move over, and so things aren't, it's not this abrupt change, right? So now actor number 1 is in the left side of the framing, actor number 2 is in the right side of the framing, but we might want to, now that we've switched sides, we may want to stick to the same sides, you see, and always keep actor number 1 and number 2 in the same side of the framing. based upon which side of the circle that we're on. So it's okay to cross the circle, like I said, in a moving shot. But now that we've moved over here, now we're on this side of the circle. We don't want to shoot anymore from this side of the circle. Unless, of course, there's some other kind of move. Perhaps the camera moves completely around again. That's part of your shot. And you're keeping your viewer oriented correctly. But I hope this is making sense as to what this 180-degree rule states. It says in our angles for coverage, a circle is made of 360 different angles from start to finish. Choose 180-degree rotation of angles, which means one side of the circle or the other. Set up your camera and do all your angles from that side. Basically, don't switch sides. Remember, the 180-degree rule, it's really a guideline rather than a rule, but I'd like to suggest to you, especially if you're just starting out, that you treat it like a rule. Create a dividing line of an imaginary circle, overlay it across your set, choose a side, and then get all your shots and all your angles from that one side. Remember to make your angles very different from one another, and then with each one, choose a shot type. So, for example, is this an establishing shot? If so, then pull your camera away from your subject and get more of the environment in the shot so that the audience or the viewer can see the world or the environment in which the character is located, right? Is this an emotion shot? If so, move in close and let your viewer see the emotion of what your character is feeling. The 180-degree rule, in essence, really sets us free as filmmakers because the thing that it gives us is knowledge as to where we can place our camera.